Started with anorexia when I was younger and then developed into bulimia, and then I went back and forth with each disorder.
Heather's story is actually very typical of a woman who struggled with eating disorders.
I was having a lot of medical issues with it, so having like fainting spells, my hair's falling out, I have osteopenia. Like there was one time where I was in the shower and had a seizure, woke up 10 days later in the hospital, didn't remember the 10 days.
It's the attempt for her to maintain some kind of normalcy and control in her life. She's a very bright, very driven, very articulate, communicative woman who you can just see has been struggling with all these demons on the inside.
I was about 13 or 14. I was being sexually abused at the time. The person I was being abused by lived with us, and he basically said, I don't like skinny girls. And so that was my cue. The more weight I lose, the more I'll be left alone. And it worked. That was my way out.
When I hear her story, it's just amazing to me that she is alive today.
Did you tell your family you were getting sexually abused?
I did, and it didn't really go anywhere. They had their own issues with drugs and alcohol. My eating disorder, I was so sick and malnourished that I don't think I even processed what was going on, why anybody wasn't helping me. I just kind of assumed that there was something wrong with me. Basically was told by friends and family, if you don't get help, we're not gonna be supportive to you. So I was willing to go to treatment even though I didn't think that I needed to. I went in anorexic, and when I was in treatment learned what bulimia was, and so for me that seems so much easier. I'll just eat what I want and I'll just throw it up after. And so everyone will see that I'm eating, so then it's okay. I would have a month where I was fine and would maybe struggle with different behaviors, and then I would be fine. I really felt like I was getting in a good place on my own, not struggling with the eating disorder as much. Maybe it was a coping tool if I had a bad day at school or had a bad day at work. That was kind of like my drug. That's what I would turn to. But there were, weeks and months where I didn't struggle with anything. And then when I was 23, I was raped. I didn't tell my parents, didn't really tell friends. And I just kind of let that eat away at me and went right back into the eating disorder. I lost my job, lost my apartment, didn't have a good relationship with my parents, so really felt like I didn't have anywhere to go. So I decided to move to San Diego. I raised my own money and called friends and got donations. I came here October of '08. I think I was residential for 2 months, and then I was PHP for a month. And one of those nights, I thought it would be a great idea to meet up with an old boyfriend. Not a good idea. Nauseous and I don't feel right, but there's no way I'm pregnant because it's been 7 or 8 weeks, and sure enough I was. And I'm glad her dad's in her life as much as he can be. He's still out. There was just so much that I was dealing with all at the same time, but by staying present and by eating no matter what, even if I thought I was going to throw up, and not because I was bulimic, but because I was pregnant and sick, and by sitting in groups and talking everything out and not being able to use my eating disorder as a coping mechanism, I was just able to process through everything. So this is my room for a few months. Emotionally, I still have thoughts about the eating disorder. I still look in the mirror and go, oh. But I think that's part of being a woman. I still think about things, but I don't act on them. I haven't acted on them. It'll be 3 years in April. I haven't had any behaviors or anything.